Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello friends, I hope you all would be enjoying programming in different programming languages. So today we are going to talk about Advanced Java. Now before we proceed to discuss Advanced Java, its content and why Advanced Java is so popular, everyone would like to know and everybody must understand the basics of Java, its history, what are the components that makes Java more popular and everything. So today we will start through discussing the basics, or we can say we will start learning Java by reviewing the Java or basics Java technology. So now what is Java? What is the history of Java? So generally when the Java started by the team of James Gosling in June 1991, initially it was focused just for electronic devices, or we can say the electronic gadgets, but later on it got popular in programming fraternity, and day by day it reached at the topmost, or we can say at the peak level. Now so the Java is not only used in the electronic devices, but it is used in the programming languages and for developing the web based application, desktop applications, and in latest big data analysis, data science, as well as in Internet of Things kind of technology. So Java is popular day by day. Initially the Java technology was, we can say, renamed as Awt, okay, late in 1991, and then after it was renamed once again in 1995 by the Java name, as the Awt was the trademark of Awt technology. Now next what we will discuss is the basic components of the Java technology is the Java language, then the we can say Java language, its different version. Initially the Java version was introduced in 1995, and till date the latest version is Java or JDK 12, which was released recently. Now apart from that, now Java technology is consisting of three main portions: Java language, which is used for developing our desktop applications, web based applications, we can say electronic devices kind of application, we can say Android based application. Then after the second part is consisting of Java platform, which is consisting of Java virtual machine responsible for hardware abstraction, and then after the third one is development tool, which is used for, we can say, the debugging and compiling kind of things. So these are the three major pillars of Java language. Then after we will discuss about the, we can say, the basic constructs of Java, or we can say the architectures of Java. The Java architecture is generally consisting of write once, run anywhere kind of things. That what does it mean? The write once, run anywhere means the Java technology enables programmers to write the program on any platform and execute it on different platforms. How it becomes possible? So generally whenever we are writing a Java programs, we are writing it in a Java language, as Java is a, we can say, highly, we can say, efficient language, and once we will write it and then after we will compile it, and after compilation it is converted into a byte code. And what is byte code exactly? So generally the byte code is a highly optimized set of instruction which is executed by the Java virtual machine. A Java virtual machine is an abstraction, or we can say abstract layer between the, we can say, underlying operating system and the, we can say, hardware that we are using for building the applications. So what exactly the write once, run anywhere is? So once we write a Java program, then after we will compile it using the Java compiler. Once we will compile a Java program, the Java file is converted into a class file. So this class file is known as a bytecode, we can say. The bytecode is now used by the Java virtual machine to execute it and make it a machine readable code, which is what the every computer, every machine requires to execute a particular programming file to be in that format. So once the Java virtual machine is there, it will execute the bytecode and run it, we can say it will run the Java program as per the, we can say, Java architecture. So now what we have discussed is the Java architecture is generally consisting of major portions like JDK, JRE and JVM. It is consisting of three main major parts. So, what the JDK is? The JDK is a main important component which is consisting of everything. It contains JRE and JVM. Now, what JVM is? The JVM is generally an abstraction layer. It executes bytecode and gives the output to the user. Now, what the JRE is? The JRE is generally consisting of the debugging, and JRE allows us to execute the Java program in the environment it is having. So, the JDK, JRE and JVM plays a vital role in the Java technology. Apart from that, when we are talking about, we can say JVM, JDK and JRE, we need to have an idea regarding the different functionality, or we can say the OOPS concepts of Java. As we are reviewing the basic Java fundamentals, so Java is known as a object oriented language. So, why it is object oriented language? So, it generally supports various functionality, various features of Java. They are a first, if I have to say, then the first thing is that the Java is a simple language. Why it is known as simple? Because Java is written in a manner the same way as we are writing C and C++ program. So, it is very easy to grasp, understand and write Java program, as well as we can easily compile it using the Java C compiler. Then after, we can say that Java is a robust language. How it is robust? So, generally Java provides us an environment, we can say platform independent environment. So, we doesn't need to have the same kind of, we can say, CPU on which we have written the program to execute the program on the same machine. If we have written a programs in a Windows environment, and once we compile it, we have a class file, we have a bytecode, we can take it and we can execute it on Linux environment and other Mac and other environments also. So, this makes it robust, it makes it even portable. Okay. So, these are the basic features of Java. Apart from that, Java is providing a multi-threading environment. So, why it is providing multi-threading environments? So, generally with the help of multi-threading environments, it allows us to execute multiple programs simultaneously without wasting the resources in terms of memory and time. So, it also enables us, we can say, multitasking programming to the programmer. Apart from that multitasking, it provides us applet. So, applet executes on a browser. So, applet is also a wonderful functionality supported by the Java technology. Apart from them, it is having the features like exception handling, very important task of, we can say, Java technology. What is exception and why do we need it? So, generally exception is an error generated during the execution of a program. So, exception, we can say, it is an abnormal condition which is not, we can say, in the hand of the programmer while executing to avoid it. So, through exception handling, the programmer is able to avoid such kind of situations and it can stop the program from abnormal termination. So, exception handling makes the programmer, we can say, it makes programmers to avoid such abnormal conditions while writing the programs with the help of different functionality like try, catch, throw, throws and finally. What the try does? So, generally whenever we have a task, we are aware that from these lines of code the error may or possible to generate, then we will put such code under the try block, and then after we will put, after the try block, after the end of the try block, we will put a catch block. The catch, what the catch will does? The generally catch, as its name indicates, it will catch the exceptions as and when the exception raised from the try block, and once it catches, it will throw the exception, it will handle it, and if requires, it will throw again to handle it, and after the exception has been handled, the program will continuously execute from the next line without abnormal termination. And if in certain environments, we also needs to execute the other task, like if we are developing, we are writing a database applications, we always need to close the connections and other, we can say, database objects. So, in such situations, if the exception raises, then also we need to keep, we need to close the database connections to keep the database in a consistent mode. So, in such situation, we are using a finally block after the try and catch block. So what the finally does is, finally block indicates that irrespective of exception, whether it is raised or not, the finally block will execute, and whatever code has been written under that, it will be executed irrespective of the exception. So the exception handling mechanism is really a very important, and it makes Java more popular apart from that. Now what apart from exception handling, the other tasks are, we can say, the web based applications. The Java provides us a web based environment also with the help of Servlet, JSP and other advanced features that we will discuss later on. Now after that, we are having a GUI environment. So with the help of Applet, AWT and Swing, we are developing a Java GUI based applications. So what the Applet does, so generally Applet allows us to make a GUI based application, not probably we can say 100% GUI based application we can say, because the purpose of Applet was different compared to the GUI based applications, but we can create and add the components on Applet. So we are saying that we can develop the GUI based application using Applet. The Applet allows us to write a applet and execute on a, we can say, on a browser. So whenever we are having any website developed in Java and we want to execute any code on a Java browser, so applet will be downloaded at the client side and executed immediately. So it provides once again a portability kind of things using the applet. Apart from that, we can develop the GUI based application using the AWT components. So what exactly the AWT component is? The AWT components are the abstract window toolkit. The abstract window toolkit allows us to create a GUI controls on our container and add those controls on the underlying container, which is using the native resource. Native resource are the resources which is what directly related with our hardware and we can say underlying processors. So they consumes more resources compared to the pure Java controls, but AWT allows the AWT controls like the buttons, text fields, checkbox, radio buttons, these all are known as the AWT controls. We can create using the AWT library and add it on the container, and we can have a wonderful GUI based applications in Java. So these are, we can say, basic features which makes Java more popular, apart from the other features which are common to other languages like C and C++, like the data. If I have to say, then let me tell you that data types, generally data types are common in C, C++ and Java. In Java we have a Boolean type, okay, which allows us to provide a true and false value. So it's we can say advantage for us. Then after, if you are talking about the size of different variables, then it is like integer. The integer requires 4 bytes, short requires 2 bytes, float 4 bytes, double 8 bytes. So if you are talking about string, then in C and C++ it was all about an array of characters, but when we are talking about string in Java, it's not an array, but itself is a class. So in Java everything is a class, everything is an object, we can say. So a string is a class in Java. So if we want to store we can say number of letters, then we need to have a string object, and then after we can store the string into a string object and we can manipulate the string objects. Once we create a string objects, we can't update it. That means we can say the string is immutable. We can't update it once it is created. So we need to be careful while creating string objects, as it consumes memory. So if we have an idea that later on the string requires to be modified, then instead of string we have another functionality in terms of string buffer and string builder classes, which allows us to update the string, manipulate the string, we can say later on. The string builder and string buffer classes are there. In string buffer and string builder class they are immutable classes. So what if both are immutable, then what is the need? The question must arise in our mind. So let me tell you that string builder class is, we can say, a thread safe. That means we doesn't need to look for the, we can say, threading kind of situations. If we have a multiple threads running and we are not, we can say, serious about the resource, then we can use this string builder class. But if we want a thread safe kind of environments, that means we need that multiple threads must execute in such a way that no one collide, no one we can say conflict or interfere in each other's execution, then we should use string buffer class instead of string builder class. So this is the we can say single difference between string buffer and string builder class. So this is all about we can say the data types of the Java with respect to the other we can say programming languages like C and C++. These are the added we can say added advantages. Apart from that, if I have to say, then the control flows like if loop, while loop, controls like for loop, do while, all works in the same manner as it was in C and C++ language. Then after, if I have to talk about we can say the executions environment, the structure of the program, then it is very important to learn the Java structure compared to the C and C++, because in C and C++ we were the program was started from the initial line of include tag, include hashtag and include keyword. The include allowed us to import to include the class libraries like standard input and output, conio detach, like we can say standard libraries kind of things in the C, C++ languages. But in Java, if we have to include anything in our program for extra functionality, then we have to use import keyword. So import keyword is very important as a first initial line to import to include any functionality in a Java program. After that, we have to write in C and C++, we are declaring the constants, and we can say other, if we have a function, then we were writing the function prototypes. But as I told you that Java is all about class, everything is a class and everything is an object. So we will write a class definition. So after importing the statements or after importing the package, we will write a public class statement. The public indicates that the class that we are declaring is accessible to all. So public class and class name, this is the syntax that we want to write. So what does it indicate? When we are writing a public class and class name, that means the class that we are creating is executable by all, it is going to be accessible by all. It is public, not a private one. So under that, after writing the public class and class name, we will start by writing a curly bracket and we will declare different variables and methods. So if I have to say, then what is Java class? So Java class is consisting of collection of different variables, members, functions, and the functions may be either it may be a static function, it may be a instance function or simple normal functions, instance variable, static variables, class variables kind of things. So generally a Java class is consisting of members and member functions in short. So after declaring the variables, then we will define a method, a simple normal method if we are requiring it, a public void get, public void show, like as we are writing functions in C and C++. The same way we will write functions or methods in Java. Once we have that functions and methods in Java, the another important entry point for Java program is its main method. So what is the main method in Java? As in C and C++, it was all about void main, but here it is main, but we need another things to write along with main. So that is public static void main. So public static void main is the Java's main method, or we can say the entry point of Java program. So from where the Java program will start its execution. So what does it mean? What the public indicates, it's a simple modifier and it's public. Then static, what the static keyword indicates? So static indicates that the method will be invoked before an object of the class is created. That means static will be called. Static method, it is having a rules and regulations that once we are associating a static keyword with a method, that means this method will be invoked with the name of class. No, it does not require an instance or object of a class to invoke it. So when we are writing a public static void main, that means the main method of Java void main will be invoked when we have a class name associated with it. So it will be called first, the main method will be called first, and then after its execution starts. So public static void main, then after the main we requires a string array of string argument. That means we requires a string argument in terms of an array as an argument to a main method. So what does it indicate? So sometimes we need to pass a command line arguments. So command line arguments requires to process certain, we can say, inputs. It requires sometimes whenever we need an input from the user. So at that times this argument in a main method argument will help us to get the input from the command line from the user. So this is the structure, a syntax of main method, public static void main, which requires a string as an argument having a array of, we can say, values. Then after under the main method we will create an object of a class. So what is an object? So object is simply an instance of a class, as we already created in C++. So in C++ we are simply creating a class name and object name. Suppose if we have a class named test, then we can write a test t, that means t will be known as an object. But in Java, by simply writing test and then after t, that does not mean that t is an object, it is simply, we can say, it is an instance variable of a class. So if we want to create an object in Java, we have to initialize the variable, instance variable, with a new keyword. So how do we create an object in Java? So simply we will write test as a class, as I told you that assume that test is a class. So test, then after test t, so t will be known as an object, is equal to, we will write new and then after class name and we can say a parenthesis required. So what will happen when we will write these things? Test t is equal to new test. So the new keyword will allocate a memory to the created instance variable t and it will be known as an object of class test. So once we will create an object of class test, the t will be in a positions to access all the class members. It may be a variable, it may be a member functions with the help of object. Then after, once we write this statement test t is equal to new test, it will automatically invoke a default constructor, we can say. Now we are having a constructor in C++, at the same way we are having a constructor in Java. So when we are creating an object in Java, it will initialize a default constructor. So it will invoke a constructor from the class, and if we have a return any initialization kind of thing in constructor, that will be executed and the program will start its executions from the constructor. Then after we have the object, now object named t. So using this t we can access the member variables, member functions from the class, we can invoke methods and rest of the things we can perform with the help of objects. So this is what all about, we can say. I wanted to tell you that the structure of a Java class. So generally Java class is consisting of the package that we are writing at the initial using the import keyword. That import is used to import the package import. Then after we are writing the class name. Apart from class name, we are declaring within the class variables, constructors and functions and main method, and within the main we are creating the objects to access all those member variables and functions from the class. So this was all about, we can say, a basic structure of a Java program. Now once we have an idea of Java program, that how the Java program is written, we will save it. So how do we save Java programs? This is most important task. But sometimes what happens, we are writing the program, we are giving the name as we are writing names, saving the name of C and C++ files. But as per the requirement and convention of Java technology, we need to save Java program with the same name as the name of a class file. Okay. Sometimes there may be a more than one class in a single file. So in such situations we need to take care, that I will discuss it. So first of all, what we need to do is that if we are having a same single class in a single file, then we have to save the Java file with the same name as the name of class. Suppose we have created a class named test, then we have to save this file with the test.java extension. Then we can compile it and execute. If we are saving this test class with a different name, suppose xyz.java, then it will compile without any error. If there is no error, then it will compile successfully. But once you will give a command java xyz, then it will throw an exception on error that the class not found. Why it makes? Because Java runtime environment, Java virtual machine will not find the class with the name of XYZ, because the class we have written is named with test. So, our class name is test and we are executing a XYZ. So, XYZ is not, we can say, a class, it will not find a class. So, we need to take care while writing the Java program and saving it, as it is very important. Now, second case, if we are having a more than one class in a single file, suppose let us assume that one class is class test and second class is class XYZ. Okay. So, now we have written both the classes in a single file. Now, we want to save the file. So, how do we save this file? So, we need to take care that we have to save the file with the name of a class having a main method, So, suppose if we are having a main method public static void main written in a class XYZ, then we will save the class XYZ with a xyz.java extension, as it is having a main method. So, we will make it public class. So, public class XYZ will be saved with a class name xyz.java, and we will not save the file with a test.java, and once we will execute, we will compile it xyz.java, it will successfully execute, and then after we will run it, it will execute successfully without any error. And within the XYZ we can have an object of a test class, as it is a part of the same file, and we can access the functionality of the test as well as functionality of the XYZ class. So, this is very important. Then after, if certain other naming convention is also there, that if we are having a method consisting of more than one words, then we will just write that first letter of the method would be a small letters, and then after the second letter would be capital one. So, these are, we can say, a naming convention that we should follow to write a Java functions or methods in a class file. So, this is what just about the basic overview of the Java program, that Java language, as we have seen that since from 1991 that Java started its journey, until date it has reached to the peak. Today the data science, big data science and Internet of Things kind of applications are using Java technologies to build the softwares and applications. It is used in all angles of the life. So, from since 1991 to till date, Java is used everywhere, it gets popular day by day, and the functionality of Java enables us, programmers are using it to develop the robust applications which is compatible with all kinds of, we can say, devices in today's environment. So, I hope that from these sessions you might have an idea regarding the basics of Java, that what the Java technology is, its architecture, the concept of JRE, JDK and JVM, its task, how the Java program is written, how it is executed, then the members of the Java program, then the different functionality that Java technology supports, like thread, exception handling, we can say packages and other tasks that we have discussed. So, this is all about the first sessions of our Java, basic review of Java, and in the next sessions we will talk about the GUI applications that we can build using the Java technology. Thank you.